And a welcome to episode 2 of the Benchwarmers for season 2023 after what has been a massive week in the Barossa. With round 2 has been and gone, looking forward to delving into those results. I'm with my co-host as always, Brad Bainey, looking forward to tonight's show with you.
Thanks for having me back again, Chuck. We were scratchy last week. We had a few mishaps with the mics and bloody all the rest of it, but we blew the cobwebs out. 5-day break for us as well, and we're back here again. Seems like just yesterday.
Yeah, much like the Pies, we're on a short turnaround. So let's hope that we're better for the run in here as well. Before we get started, we've got to thank our sponsors, though. The Exchange Hotel, where we film from each and every week, Brad. We've got the nice Pirate Life South Coast Pale Ale. Probably the best drop on the market. It's my go-to at the moment.
Yeah, good as it gets, Chuck. Doesn't matter what mood you're in. If you really want to send it or just have a few quiet ones, that's probably, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, doing a midi at the moment as well, which is also lovely. And we got to thank Brad, our segment partner, Rams Home Loans. Looking forward to talking about them. Lyndon Zobel and the team, big supporters of the community, and they're doing wonders out there, and really good to have them on board, as well as all of our sponsors, Brad. As we said, we've got 10 sponsors on board this year with the Benchwarmers and the BLGW Footy Show, which was massive in the first week. All right, we've got a great response, haven't we?
Yes, we have, Chuck. Mixed responses, but that's what it's all about, isn't it? Just get them talking.
Feedback, but the girls, the all-girls panel in the girls show, they've been doing a great job, Aisha and Bailey as well. So looking forward to a big show, Brad. We're going to go a break, thank our sponsors. When we come back, we've got the Feel Good Fill Up.
And thanks to Rams Home Loans, Northern Adelaide, Lyndon Zobel and the team, they'll look after you. We're back with another segment of the Feel Good Fill Up, Chuck. Rams Home Loans doesn't get much better, does it?
No, they're fantastic, Lyndon and the team down there, and they are offering $5,000 if you are looking to buy or building your home and looking to refinance. Contact Lyndon and the team. Google Rams Home Loans Northern Adelaide, or hit them up on Facebook through Lyndon Zobel as well. T's and C's do apply, Brad. We left that out week 1, but as with everything, there's terms and conditions. Yeah. But fantastic people. They love supporting the North, and you sign up with them, you pick up your own pair of slippers as well.
Not many T's and C's for that, but for the 5K, yes, you have to tick a few boxes, but beautiful mob down there. Now, Chuck, we were rusty the first episode and we're rusty the first segment, and we still are now. We were still blowing the cobwebs out. Yep. Sometimes we've got notes prepared, sometimes we go a little bit off script, so we are going to start with an apology on behalf of the show. Last week, we better apologise to all the people rushing out there to get Rugby World Cup tickets that are in Adelaide that isn't happening. You've rolled. We were talking about Peter Malinauskas. He's doing everything, and you said he's brought the Rugby World Cup to Adelaide. I didn't think it sounded right. We'll get Jacob to roll the clip.
One I have just thought of as well, and I think is coming to Adelaide, and don't quote me on this, but I feel like there's a Rugby World Cup coming. There's some games in Adelaide as well coming out later this year. So don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty certain that that's coming as well.
But it something didn't add up there.
It didn't. I think we're just on a roll. We're going over after every sport. And no, the Rugby World Cup, I believe, is actually in France. So don't know how I got that it was at the Adelaide Oval, but hopefully soon. Yeah,
I've had a look and tried to see where we went wrong. A few things might have just been jumbling up in your brain. In August, there is some rugby in Adelaide. The Wallaroos, the women's team, are playing New Zealand, and the Wallabies, the men, are playing South Africa, but it's not the World Cup. In July as well, credit to Peter Malinauskas, I'm sure he had something to do with this, the Women's Football World Cup is coming to Australia, and there's some games in Adelaide. So you got a lot going on your plate, Chuck, and you've jumbled a few stories there, but nonetheless, he's a fantastic man. But sorry, everyone that went and got Rugby World Cup tickets that live in Adelaide. You've got a bit to travel. But an honourable mention this week, Chuck, goes out to Will Schofield, West Coast footballer, retired. They're riddled with injury at the minute, Chuck. I think they had 26 to pick from their AFL team. You can look at me if you like. I'll get to the punchline. You don't have to steal me thunder. Riddled with injury, and he came out of retirement to play for the Waffle team. They were down by 100-odd points. Doing it tough, the boys. They've been doing it tough, but they'll come good. And he was copping it from the crowd as well, adding insult to injury, but he's lined up at full forward, an unusual spot for him as well. They're 100 points down, but he's gone back and slotted one giving it to the opposition, giving it to the crowd. It was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, it was. And it was quite a good catch from him as well. Some nice forward craft, which didn't know Will had in him. So kudos and great podcast, Brad.
Yes, it is. Well done, Will, on that and the podcast. And last week, Chook, our main one this week. Last week we went to South Australia. This week we're going to go across the ocean to Tasmania this week. Yep. Our attention goes there. So further development on them having their own AFL team, which is, that just gets hairs on the back of your neck, doesn't it, Chook? That'll be beautiful. They've had 240 mil dipped in from the Oz government, 360 mil dipped in from the AFL, 375 mil from the Tasmanian government. It's all but ticked off nearly. Just the teams need to give it the all clear. How good's that? Yeah,
fantastic for footy and fantastic for Tassie. Building a 23-seat stadium, so that's all being ticked off. 23,000 stadium. So a nice boutique stadium, and it's great for Tassie. And the supporters, they want their own team, so fantastic to see.
Everyone's up and about, aren't they, Chook, about it, except James Sicily. An interesting comment from him. Hawthorn, major sponsor, Tasmania, and he said, I wouldn't be seen living down there. It's a horrible place.
Well, it's interesting when you're the skipper of a footy club that's got Tasmania pinned across your chest. Like, you can't miss it. I dare say there would have been a please explain coming to Hawthorn about that sponsorship during the week.
Yeah, hopefully that just brushes away. But
well, he had to apologise on Twitter.
Did he?
Sicily had to put out an apology. So, a little brain fade from James.
Yeah, oh well. But Chook, if they do need any extra help as well, we've also got some experience. Not with all those millions of dollars of assistance, we got an AFL Max team off the ground, $10 a game, and you get a free drink sometimes as well.
Yep.
And we won a premiership in the first year. So if they need any help, come our way.
Yeah, and we're both being a part of some wins at the moment. So and won a premiership together in women's footy. So I think the resumes stack up, and hopefully we can get down to Tassie.
It's fantastic, Chook. If you need a hand, Gillen, come our way. If you need a hand for a home loan, see Rams Home Loans, and we'll be back to review the Barossa.
Right, we're back and ready to talk round 2 in the Barossa Brad, and we start with Freeling. Our boys at 6-1-37 defeated by Newry-Utpa 16-14, 110. Fair to say, Newry looking like the contenders again this year.
That's right, Chook. Big game for both sides there, and coming off the 5-day turnaround like we are for the show for Anzac Day, from Anzac Day, was that less than 5 days? It's a short turnaround anyway from Anzac Day for Newry, so it was they would have felt like it was a little bit of a danger game. They still needed to get out of the blocks early, but they obviously did. They've done it comfortably. Best them for Newry. Henke, best on ground, back from Centrals and 5 snags, if you don't mind. He had a massive day, half forward, in the mids, was doing it all. Another one, he keeps featuring. Gregurk, he was classy in the midfield as well, second best. Westlake and Norton are also rocks down back. And for Freeling, Dutchke, Hales and Cochrane, their best, and Rossi, 3 goals for them, Chook.
Yeah, good to see from Newry, and good to see Jack Henke obviously getting back down to a state league footy club. Like to see him probably get a bit more opportunity down there. Hopefully this week that helps him. Might name come up at selection, because he deserves to be playing at the level, definitely reserves level, and he's a star, young kid in the competition, so good to see him lead the way for Newry. And as we said for Freeling, I think really good last week, and they're just going to have to beat those teams around them. I understand, and I think once we go through the results, there's probably 2 clear sides again in the competition this year. So Freeling, they need to try and compete the Barossa Centrals, Tanundas, the Willistons, those sorts of teams, and they're still building into probably 2-3 years away from being at the pinnacle of where they need to be to contest for a premiership. Yeah,
no, you're dead right, Chuck. It probably went about the way we thought, but we'll be keeping a close eye on Freeling. Second game, we'll go to Barossa, took on South. That was at Barossa. So Barossa 9-7-61 went down to South 20-11, 131. So South had got off to a flyer there. At half-time, 13 goals to 3, and then it was a bit of Barossa managed to make it a bit of an arm wrestle in the second half, but obviously it was a little bit too late for them. Yeah, obviously Barossa will be very happy with their second half, but it's hard to look at when
you're 10 goals up at half time, it's easy to kind of put the cue in the rack as well. But made it into a bit of a scrap in the second half. But, you know, we think South and Newry are going to be the two sides again this year. But I don't think Barossa are too far off them. But, you know, they've played 2 games together under a new system with their coach and a whole lot of new players in. So it's going to take them time as well. And, you know, they've come up against a very well-drilled South Gawler.
Yeah, that's right. As we discussed last week, South were missing Dean Cutting. They'll miss him for a couple.
What happened there? I haven't heard.
He obviously got a couple of weeks, so he wasn't there. So South had to find other avenues to goal. So Henry Bennison also back from Central Districts. He's kicked 5, if you don't mind, Chook. Just slotted in nicely. Cody Gilchrist 4, Gurney 3, Darcy McDonald also back from Centrals for 3. With South best, Zobel, Gurney and Pisani. Barossa best, Mazzone best on ground twice, Chook, for the second week in a row. Griffiths and Jew with goals there, Griffiths 2 and Shillabeer 2.
We've talked about Lyndon's Oval and Rams home line. Good to see your son Bailey best on the weekend. So we're keeping in the family here at Cotton. And good to see Gilchrist as well, Brad. He's left Centrals now, so he won't play any state league footy. So he's a massive young kid for South, and everyone I've spoken to is very impressed with him, and he's going to be one to watch. And you look at that team, and there's a lot of young blokes in the best players featuring Brad. Yes, no, you're dead right, Chook, and that's without. I think Pressy has still missed with a hamstring, or is nearly ready. So there's still a lot of talent there still to come back in, and Dean Cutting will still slot back in as well. Absolutely. Let's have a look at Gawler Centrals and Tanunda, Brad. And I actually got down to this game, which it's good to get out and watch some Barossa footy this weekend. It was Gawler Central 10-11-71, defeated by Tanunda 11-13-79, an 8-point win to the Pies. But it was a fantastic game, Brad. Looking at the best players, Charlie Molyneux was outstanding. We'll talk about him a little bit further into the summary. Riley Mitchell, new player to the club, second best. Goals to Jared Jenner 2, Molyneux 2, Pilkington 2. Along with the best for Tanunda was Greenslade, Guilfoy and Fraser Smith. Fraser Smith kicking 5 and Jared Traynor kicking 5. So they've kicked 11 goals Tanunda. Those two boys have kicked 5 apiece, and the coach, Carl Hoon, he kicked 1. Unfortunately, Carl Hoons, or Muffins as we call him on the show, he has done a hammy in the second quarter, Brad.
That's massive for them.
Coach from the bench. And if we have a look at the game, you know, it was 5 goals. I think there were 5 goals, 1 up at 3/4 time. Tanunda. Gawler Centrals actually hit the front. So they got a bit of a run on, hit the front, got up by a point. Fortunately, just couldn't keep that momentum. There was a lot through Charlie Molyneux. He went forward and kicked a couple and did a mountain of work. And unfortunately, they couldn't get the job done. Tanunda too good on the day. But a huge effort and some really positive signs for the Tigers as well.
Yeah, that's right, Chook. It's just great to see Charlie out there kicking goals and getting best, but it's just great that he is playing footy because we know what he can deliver, and hopefully he can just be a big part for them all year. For Tanunda, Smith and Traynor both kicking 5. They're actually both on top of the leading goal kickers at this stage. Not that that's anything to get too carried away with, but they are on top of the leaderboard with Smith having 8 and Traynor having 7. So that'll be interesting how that plays out across the year. Chook, Jared Traynor finding his way around goals. Yeah, it definitely is. Unfortunately, Gawler Centrals just didn't have matchups for him. They're just a bit depleted with height, the Tigers, and those two boys definitely got off the chain and kept Tanunda in the game, which was good. Yeah. No, it's fantastic. We'll go on to our last game for the round, Chook. This is actually a night game under lights, so it started at 6 o'clock. Williston took on Kapunda. Williston 18-12, 120. Made light work at Kapunda 7-6, 48. Williston best, the skipper Tyson Earlham, Waldhooter and Holloway. Goals there 5 to Waldhooter, 3 to Lehman, 2 to Davis, 2 to East, 2 to Hargraves. And for Kapunda, some of the better ones there were Truck Ryan, Jai McKenzie, Mudge, and goals to Joey Brown 3 and Aish 2. Chook. Yeah, it's interesting to see a margin like that with the Bombers. You know, they've always been pretty consistent over the last few years, but might be in for a bit of pain this year. Obviously, Freeling got them last week, and then Williston, who have been pumped by South, come out and pump Kapunda this week. So, be interesting to see what's
what's happening at the Bombers, and obviously Joe Brown, good friend of the show. Hopefully he can razz the boys up and get them up and about, because they're a side that you always want to see performing well, and they're always around the mark as well. So I did see Jay McKenzie and wonder if Buckets was back playing, but no, just dry this one. So as for Williston, Damien Herzick, first win as the head coach of the Donnybrook, so well done to Hers, and looks like he's got the boys firing.
Yeah, that's right, Chook. And one name they would have been glad to see back on the team sheet, Izzy McKenzie as well, back from the Crows. Not through lack of form down there. He's a brilliant player, goes well down there. Obviously, Crows just don't have many injuries at all at AFL level, so that filters down, and means you've got a fantastic player in Izzy. And yeah, Waldhooter, Earlham and Izzy, they're just all class. They all stood up and were too good.
They are, and yeah, you talk, the Crows are scary at the moment, so well done. And Izzy, he'd come back, he would have come back with a great attitude and really led from the front with the Donnybrooks as well. So there we have it, rounding up of round 2. We're going to have a quick break, thank our sponsors to come back, and we're going to have a preview of round 3. As we said throughout the show, thank you to all of our sponsors that have supported us and allowing us to get here and talk BLG footy every week. Brad, let's have a look at round 3. As you said, Newry and South on top of the ladder with 2 wins apiece, Brad. But looking forward to this week, you got the old school Gawler grudge match. South Gawler taking on Barossa Central.
Yeah, it's as good as it gets, Chook. South and Barossa Central's the grudge there. Probably not as fiery as it has been in other years, in the old school days. Probably footy in general's toned down, hasn't it? Probably for good reason.
Yeah, it's much better now, isn't it? A lot more friends over the border. Back in the day, the 3 teams couldn't be seen at the pub together.
No, that's right. God help them, Chook. But yes, I think South will be too strong for Barossa Central. Yeah,
I'm with you as well. Obviously the best, I still feel South are the best team in the comp. I don't think Newry are far away, but I just look at South, some of the kids they got coming through, they got some genuine talent in that list. So I'm going with the Lions as well to beat Barossa Centrals.
Yeah. Thanks, Chook. Second game, Kapunda take on Barossa. That'll be at Kapunda.
Yeah, I think Barossa, I probably think at the moment, I know I'm going off 2 weeks, but feel like they're the third team in the comp at the moment, and that 3rd or 4th. So I think they're going to be too good for the Bombers this week, and Dewey to have a big one, probably get best on. Yeah,
I tend to agree. Dewey's a fantastic player. I think Barossa will be too strong. Kapunda will have a little bit to prove, though. They'll feel like this one's all winnable. They'll feel like this is right in their reach. So I think they'll come out firing, but I think Barossa will be too strong.
Yeah. Next game, Newry taking on Williston. Obviously, both coming off big wins, Brad. Going to be a great game to watch.
It'll be fantastic, Chook. Again, 2 clubs that are going pretty well. I think Newry, they're just classy all over the ground. Interesting what Henke does this week. If he's in, I think he could have a fair bit to say as well, and I think they'll get the chockies, Newry.
Yeah, I feel like you probably touched on a little bit. It's going to depend on some selection as well. If Williston can hold Izzy McKenzie, if Newry hold Jack Henke, that's going to make a huge difference in this game. So I'm going to go Newry with yourself, but wouldn't mind seeing Jack play some reserves footy this week. And if Izzy doesn't get picked for the Crows, I think Williston might give them a fair run for their money.
Yeah, fair point. Last game, Anguston take on Freeling.
Yeah, I think the Panthers are going to be a good side again this year. They matched Newry for a half a footy in round 1. They've had the week off, and now I think they'll be ready and charged to go again. Under Hads as coach as well. He's spent some time down at Central Districts. He's going to come back, and he'll be getting the boys playing footy his way, and that's going to take time. So I reckon they would have used the time really well, and they'll be firing. I'm going to go the Panthers.
Yeah, it's a boring old show, and we agree on everything, isn't it, Chook? But I think Anguston will get the chockies in that one. Freeling are building. They're building over the last 12, 18 months, but I think Anguston are too good.
I agree, Brad. So some great footy in round 3. Make sure you get out, support your local footy. And once again, thank you to the Exchange Hotel. Thank you to Rams Home Loans Northern Adelaide and all of our sponsors that help put the show together, and all your viewers for tuning in each and every week as well. Hope to see you all at the footy this weekend, and we'll see you next week.